Well, hello, dear listeners and dear watchers. Welcome to another episode of the Global Advocate Career Podcast. Today, we're going to Broadway. Yes, virtually in our minds, because right now we're in the middle of a virus, so we can't go there in person. But I'm bringing Broadway to you, dear watchers and listeners, by interviewing a dear friend, someone who is making so much headway in Broadway in his career that I just couldn't resist in sharing him with you, but only for an hour. His name is Saint Aubyn. Saint, welcome to the Global Advocate Career Podcast.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
How
How you
are
doing?
you?
I'm good. I'm good. With all that's going on, making it do what it do and, staying level-headed, making sure my energy is at a good place. Because if I have to go outside, you want to make sure that you're at a even playing level so that
That's right.
everything else that might be coming your way, you can just go, that ain't for me. Let me stay here. So
That is absolutely correct. Now, I like to talk to the future watchers who will be watching this when all of this is over.
mm,
So, actually, we're hoping a few months from now, it'll be years from now. What do you want to tell those watchers in the future about what we're going through now?
ooh, I would say we came, we conquered, and we're still moving and grooving. Okay.
I like that. I like
Uh,
that a lot. I like that a
uh,
lot. Can I read Saint a little mini bio about you?
sure.
Okay. Saint Aubyn is an artist who strives to entertain his audience with hopes that they leave each and every performance feeling fulfilled. Some of his accomplishments are performing with one of his mentors, Gregory Hines, in the Showtime movie Bojangles, and sharing the stage with the incomparable Miss Patti LaBelle and Sam Smith. He was involved in Smokey Joe's Cafe 20th century 20 excuse me anniversary tour, and he was featured in the 2013 film Admissions. He also played the role of Jimmy Early in the production of Dreamgirls at the Gallery Players Theater in Brooklyn in 2013. This resulted in his nomination for the 2013 Audelco Outstanding Performance in a Musical Award and the 2013 New York Innovative Theater Outstanding Actor in a Featured Role Award. He was involved in the Broadway musical Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and he is currently playing the role of Dennis Edwards in the Broadway musical Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. For this role, Saint has recently been awarded the prestige of being a Grammy nominee. What a pleasure. What an honor to have you here. When you hear about your accomplishments and what you're doing now, Saint, how does that make you feel?
To God be the glory. Still pinching myself in a continued state of just saying, you read all of that, and I'm just like, I did all that. And thank the Lord that I did all that, and still wanting to do more. I'm always grateful and thankful because I know that at any point in time, something can happen and it can all stop. So that every chance that I get, I do my best to give it my all each and every time. So it's once again to hear it read, and I'm still in a place of, oh, I did do all of that. you know
You did do all of that, Saint, and I've known you for quite some time. When
that's
people
right.
usually get up and thank God, we're like, okay, here we go. But you mean it. Tell me how
Yeah.
God has played a role in your life.
Oh, and it's because it's because of him that I'm able to get the places that I've been able to go. It's because he's given me this talent, and I'm still discovering everything that I have been blessed with, you know. So it stems from to then give it to the world, because I always believe in sharing your gifts once you recognize and realize what you're put on this earth to do, because it takes a minute for everybody. Not everybody realizes it at a young age. I was able to realize, I was able to um, I was able to see this is what I liked. And both of my parents realized that, oh, he likes doing this. So they put me in the classes. I was never forced into doing this profession. They just realized I liked it. And I kept going with it from middle school to high school to college, and realizing that this is something that I love to do. It's something that I don't ever feel like,
Right.
oh, I got to go to work. I got to go do this. I got to do that. I love doing what I do. So I'm blessed that I was able to find my calling, or find my passion at a young age, and still doing it today.
Yeah, I'm glad too. You've made the
Yeah.
world a better place. So thank
Thank you.
goodness. Thank goodness you went for what you were meant to do. And I'm very grateful about that myself.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But what drove you to make sure you got to where you are today? Like, what was your drive? What drove you, Saint?
Having fun. Having fun. That's what, at the bottom, at the bottom line of it all, you got to have fun. If you're not having fun doing it, why do it?
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Why do it? I've always enjoyed doing what I do. I've
Okay.
never I've never said, oh God. You know, granted, we are human. We have our days where we're like, oh, okay, I gotta get up and do this. But at the root, sometimes I say at the root of it all, I'm having fun. And so I think, or I would want to say to anybody, if you are having fun in what you're doing, continue to do it. If it's not something that you're really not passionate about, if it's something that you're just, if your profession is your hobby, you shouldn't be doing it. It should be something that when you get up and you get ready to do it, you're excited to do it. You know, yes, I love to make my money in what I'm doing, but if the money wasn't there, I would still do it.
You know, I think particularly in this time that we're in, it's so appropriate to say that, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel that as we're in this moment of introspection where people are quarantined, where people are staying home, do you think it's a good time for people to ask themselves if they're happy or not?
Oh yeah, I think this is the perfect time to figure out. This is the perfect time to reflect. This is the perfect time to, you know, talk with yourself, as you are, as for some people are by themselves, and
Mhm.
really figure out, once this is all said and done, if you're on the right journey for yourself. And because you see, time waits for no one. Anything can happen. So why not pursue something that you truly want to do?
I'm with you, Saint.
So
I'm with you. I'm a career coach, but
that's right.
I have to say I wasn't a career coach. I'm not gonna say by design or choice because it was my choice, but I didn't, my end game, I didn't think I was gonna be a career coach. But
Mm.
you know, you come to terms with what you do well in and what you enjoy, and everything just flows and just works out. How did you learn your craft? Tell me how you learned your craft.
I went to a couple different schools.
Okay.
And I've always been, when going to like public schools or stuff like that,
Right.
I've always been in a performing arts school. But then I also went outside of my performing arts school to um, continue my craft, continue learning my craft, whether it would be in Brooklyn, or whether it would be upstate New York, or watching. I would watch as I got older.
Mm-hmm.
I would, or even when I was younger, I didn't realize that's what I was doing when I was younger. But my parents would put on videos of James Brown, of Michael Jackson, and as I got older, Prince, and I would study them and look at what they were doing, and and I would become extremely excited watching them live their best life on the stage. And so I would learn from them, and uh, pick up some of their moves and try to figure out how I can make it work for me. So that's one of the ways I learned. I have enormous amount of mentors who are here and who have gone, that I learned from them as well, that I still keep their words and what they told me, and how to be a vessel in this business, because this business is not for the weak of heart, and you get a lot of no's before you get so many yeses. So you have to be grounded in what you're doing, and know that it doesn't come. I'll speak from the I.
Right.
My journey has come from hard work, and still comes from hard work,
Sure.
to have the payoffs that I've had. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in just sitting down and waiting for things to come. I believe in working for it, studying. I believe in watching, listening. Listening is a huge component to me.
Right.
Taking constructive criticism, because
Mm-hmm.
not everybody will give you constructive criticism. You have to, as I've gotten older, figure out what is meant for me, and what isn't. Putting, separating everything, and saying, okay, I hear that, and I will use that for me, because unfortunately, not everybody's out here to see you do your best.
No.
You have people who will just be around because they see you are on the rise, and you have to do your best to notice that. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away, but when people show you who they are, believe them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listening to you, I can relate.
Yeah.
I can totally relate. This is about you, not about me today.
Right.
They say the best revenge is living well.
Yeah. Live your best life. Do your best to live your authentic self.
What does fame mean to you, Saint?
Fame means to me living your authentic self. Being able to. Yes, fame comes with all this glitz and the glam,
Right.
and the ups and the downs. But if you can do your best to live in your truth, no matter what it is, as a teacher, as a performer, as as someone who works in the hospital, I was, with all this is going on, I am so grateful for the people who work in the hospitals. And I have my older brother works in that profession, and that to me is still fame. As long as you have to identify what it is for you. It doesn't have to be what the norm of what fame is.
Yes. I believe what you're saying is that when you're true to yourself, fame is one of those components of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
At least the proper form of it.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about your character, Dennis Edwards, that you play in Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Ain't Too Proud.
Yeah. It happens all the time because of the song. So we understand, but it happens all the time.
Okay. How is that character like you? How was Dennis like you?
Oh man, I didn't realize the parallels of me and the late great Dennis Edwards until I really did my research. I grew up listening to the Temptations, and I grew up listening to Dennis Edwards, but it wasn't until I got into the musical and really did my research and realized how he says a lot with his eyes and even his hands when he performs. He's very he's very eccentric, and we have that that type of parallel where I could do anything at any moment at any time when I'm on stage, and watching him, he never stopped himself from watching him. What I believe and what I felt when I would watch him is that he was just living his truth, and we speak a lot through our eyes and through our hands, and that's one of the comparisons that I realized that me and Dennis Edwards have.
When actors channel other famous performers, right? When we see, for example, like Renee Zellweger play Judy Garland, or using that as an example.
Right.
Sometimes it's so real that you really feel like they're properly channeling. Did you ever feel that on stage? Like, did you have a moment where you're like, oh?
Yep. Every once in a blue moon where it would just come, you rehearse these lines, you rehearse these steps, and it becomes second nature.
Sure.
But there are moments where you get so wrapped up in it, and you're like, wait, did we just finish that scene? Did we just go through it? And it because it feels, natural, and you want it. Once again, I'll speak from the eye. You want it to feel natural. You don't want it to. I don't want it to ever feel stale.
Sure. Sure.
So there are moments where it's just moving so rhythmically that you're like, oh, and here we go on to the next thing.
It must be. I mean, I would say a lot of professions don't afford the opportunity to feel that rhythm. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
When you work in an office, you got work to do.
Yes.
And you're in a rhythm of it, but it's not like the way acting is.
Yeah. There is something very special about what people like me do, because we're not in the 9-to-5 norm. We are on stage, allowing to be present on stage, and also being aware and trying not to be aware of it at the same time, that there are people watching what you're doing. I don't know too many professions that do that in that way. So that in itself is it's unique in itself.
It's interesting because when I'm in meetings, virtual meetings, or dealing with my clients, one of the exercises that's recommended in order to relax is to be present. And an actor is always present.
Hope.
So maybe we need to take some tips from you on how to be present.
Well, I know for me, when I'm on stage, and I'm acting, we'll go with that, to always make sure that you're staying connected with your actor, you know, and paying attention to do your best to not be in what's the word I want to use, airplane mode, to always to do your best to stay active, to do your best to, you know, see what he or she is doing today, because he or she might not do the same thing they did yesterday, and react to what you're given right there in that moment. That's what I do. That's how I always do my best to stay active in the moment, and not go on airplane mode and be like, oh, okay, and this is what I'm doing. It's the same thing, you know. I always find myself wanting to see something new, to find something new, because for me, if you just I have a hard time doing the same thing over and over and over. So I have always used that as a way to make it fresh, to make it new, even though, yes, you have to stay in the parameters of what your objective and what the scene is, or what the steps are. But you know, I do my best to find something new each and every time I'm performing the show.
That's right. Make it fresh. Make it funky fresh.
Funky fresh, right.
Make it funky fresh.
Yes.
Now, how did your background influence you, Saint?
What do you mean?
Your upbringing.
Well, my upbringing, you see, I come from 2 West Indian parents. So that in itself is different from some of my fellow actors who might not have that type of upbringing.
Right.
So I learned from them. I learned from my parents to do your best to be on time. Do your best to be on time. And I also learned this from my mentors too. And this is, I would say, part of my upbringing. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. So that's part of that upbringing that I've taken to implement in my artistic life. One of the many things, just one of the many gems that that stuck with me.
Yeah, sure. No, were they strict?
My parents?
Yeah.
I think everybody has their ways of being strict, but I don't think it was without reason.
Now, you said they're West Indian. Where are they from?
Guyana. Both of my parents are from Guyana. Yeah.
Now, Guyana is in South America, because we just want to clarify, you know, yes. I've heard some interesting suggestions of where Guyana could be.
Yes.
Have you been to Guyana?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. My little brother went with my dad a couple years ago, but because of my performer life, I haven't been able to go yet. I wanted to go this year, but we'll see. It's still possible, but we'll see.
It's still possible.
But I will go. But yeah.
Yeah. Why do I see you like starting something there? I just totally see you starting something, whether it's theater or something for actors down there.
Well, hey, I'll take that. And
yeah,
then
I'll be right there behind you with my camera.
Right. I was just about to say, when it happens, I'm gonna be like, so you coming on the road? You coming on this tour? You coming on this project?
Tell us about your first audition, your very first audition.
Oh. Oh. I don't know if I remember my very first audition. Was that my first audition? Well, the one that comes to mind was when I had to audition for Bojangles, the movie that Gregory Hines played Bojangles in, and I end up playing the young Bojangles. That and I want to say on the record that before I had my agent, my mom was my agent, and that she did that by choice. She was like, "Look, my son likes to do this. We're gonna figure out ways to get him into certain things." And my mom would look at, at the time backstage when it was a news article. Now everything is online.
Sure.
You would go through backstage to find these auditions. Yes. And so my mom found that they were doing this movie. And well, my then tap teacher told my mom about it, and then my mom did her research and found out where it was going to be and things like that. And I just remember not being nervous. I remember my mom being nervous for me, but I just remember not being nervous. I just remember wanting to just go in there and tap. Right. Being not having that much knowledge as I have now, or being a newcomer to that process. I just wanted to get in there and just, okay, I understood that it was an audition, but I just wanted to get in there and go, okay, this is what I have to offer, this is what I wanted to do. I remember that feeling. And after I came out, I remember my mom going, "So how was it?" I was like, "I had fun." And that was, I remember that portion of the audition. There were some other things, and I also remember, and this is when I first met Gregory Hines. It was another actor and myself in the room, and he was teaching us some steps. And the reason I also remember this, because I have a picture of me looking at him while he's teaching the step, and I was always told, look first, then do.
Okay.
Watch the steps first, and then get into it. So I remember knowing who he was because I had watched his, he was somebody I had looked up to. So I just remember looking up at him while he's doing the step and just, I want to say now, looking back, in disbelief that I was in the room, that I actually was picked to do the part.
Sure.
But now I'm learning from one of the greats, and just looking up at him and watching him doing the step, but also taking in, like, I'm actually in this room. I know at a young age it's like, what? But as I look back, I remember and as I looked at that picture that I have, and just realizing that I'm here doing something that I love to do.
Right.
That
right.
I was there doing something I love to do.
And was Gregory, was he nice?
Oh, extremely nice. Oh yeah. He was extremely nice, made sure that we understood the steps, but also made sure we knew why we were doing what we were doing.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because Bojangles, I mean, let's take a step back right now. Mm-hmm. Sammy Davis Jr., right? Mm-hmm. And I actually don't want to say Sammy Davis was the original Bojangles. I want to say it was a gentleman that was known for tap, like in the 20s.
Well, Bojangles wasn't actual, Bojangles was Bojangles, so right. Bojangles is the original Bojangles.
The original Bojangles, right.
Right. But then, Sammy Davis Jr. came up underneath Bojangles, right, and learned and borrowed, and then, made his own steps, but always made sure that he paid homage to the people
That's right.
who paved the way for him.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so, and I remember his song, Mr. Bojangles. I grew
Right.
up listening to that. And
Right.
then Gregory Hines came,
Right.
and here you are.
I'm just, once again, when you say it like that, I'm still like, I know the shoulders I stand on, and I know the people who have paved the way for me, and I want to always do my best to make them proud.
You know,
Because for me, in the time that we are in now,
yes,
it's much easier, because those who paved the way for me, I who knows if I was alive back then, if I'd have been able to endure all that they endured.
Do you think there's a responsibility to Black actors now to put forth their best product? And I ask this because some public figures don't feel like they need that their actions should be considered a reflection of the group as a whole. Do you feel that burden to?
I don't feel it as a burden,
Right.
but I feel it as a purpose. I feel it as I'm a firm believer of Black excellence, and that to me is not a burden. That's a gift, especially where there aren't in Hollywood. I know now there are more opportunities. It's still not enough. So I always believe in, once again, living my true self, and not forgetting or not allowing people to say, oh, we don't subscribe to your channel. Okay, you don't have to subscribe to my channel, but you're going to see it. And you're going to open this door, and you're going to open these opportunities, because I'm here. We're here. Firm believer of Black excellence.
Absolutely.
And a lot of, well,
go ahead.
Some people feel that when you say, oh, yes, Black excellence, but there's no but. There's no but. There's no but. Black excellence is Black excellence. It's not, oh, we have white excellence. No. We've been in this world, as we know, is run in a certain way. And we as a people need to be acknowledged as for what we do, for what we bring, for what we offer, for what we have to give, as if it's normal, not as if it's, oh, this is the new hype. No, this ain't no new hype. We've been doing this.
Right. Do you, is it a compliment or is it an insult if someone was to say, oh, Saint, I just see you as an actor. I don't see you as a Black actor.
I take that when because it has happened when folks say that. I say thank you, but I know that I am a Black actor. I know that. I know that. There are some opportunities that some other people would get just because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Even if I'm the right person in the room, even if I'm the right person for the part.
Yes.
You know, so I take it when folks say stuff like that. I say thank you, but I also know how I walk and what I bring and what I want to put out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You may look at me as an actor, but when you see me, I am a Black actor. I'm not. Yes, I am an actor, but I'm also a Black actor.
Understood. Understood. And talking about the issues that actors face,
Mm-hmm.
one of the topics that comes up certainly a lot lately is the casting couch.
Uh-huh. Still not enough. Still not enough. You know, I'm very thankful to have our book writer is an African American woman. She penned this story, and when you hear her words,
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I remember going through this process and reading the text. I knew that, I'm gonna say it just like this, I knew that someone Black wrote this. I knew that it wasn't someone, I knew it was someone who understood the experience and understood the lineage and understood and just understood our words, you know? So I'm very thankful and grateful that the story that I'm telling was written by an African American woman. Doesn't happen to it doesn't happen often. One, to be written by a Black person. Two, to be written by a Black woman. You know, and that's what I'm talking about. The doors need to be open, need to be continue to kick down. And it's in, as I'm saying this to you, I also once again think about my ancestors who kicked down the doors for me to be able to do what I'm doing, but we're still kicking down doors.
Sure.
You know, I don't remember how many years it was before Felicia Rashad won her Tony. You know, she was, it was so many years before an African American woman had won the Tony Award in her category. Mind-boggling.
Yeah, mind-boggling, considering so many. You know, I think about Diane Carroll. I think about so many women. You know, I mean,
the list, and so many who haven't been given their just due. First person that comes to my mind is Angela Bassett.
I felt she should have gotten it for What's Love Got to Do with It, but
of course,
I felt Diana Ross should have gotten hers for was it Mahogany or Lady Sings the Blues?
Sings the Blues.
That was when even folks in the audience, I'll never forget that.
See, Prince agreed.
Even
Prince agreed.
Prince, we'll get to you in a minute. Prince, we'll get to you in a minute. Just wait a second.
Even he agreed.
Actually, you know what? I'll just take that as a sign. Let's talk about Prince, you know?
All right.
Did you ever see him perform live?
No.
Neither did I.
I wish. And there was a night, so he was known to go to the Village Underground.
Yeah.
And So he was known just to show up. You know, that's Prince. He would just show up. You wouldn't even know when he was showing up.
Right.
So there was one night that I was there, and I left, and I got almost halfway home, and my friend calls me and goes, "You wouldn't believe who just walked in." I just hung up the phone. I just hung up the phone because I already knew. I already knew.
Does he inspire you?
Oh yeah, Prince was a firm believer of speaking the truth. He did not like to be a slave to any company that would tell him, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. He never liked the word can't. He never liked those types of words, you know, because there were other people that weren't getting those type of words, you know. So he was a firm believer in, knocking down doors. Firm believer of knocking down doors.
Yeah, like me, he just knocked down that poster. I don't, you know.
I mean, he said he Prince. You always knew once again. I guess I have this thing. I guess I have the thing for people who have their expressions on their face. If Prince didn't like something from the interviews I would watch, you would always know. He would be like, or he would get up and leave. He would go, cool, and be out.
Just he wouldn't tolerate it. You know,
No.
Dave Chappelle joked around and said, "Don't look in his eyes."
That's what everybody said. Questlove said that. Dave Chappelle said stuff like that too. Eddie Murphy, Charlie Murphy, yeah, all those guys.
Any other entertainers inspired you?
Oh man, James Brown. Sure. You know, because Prince and Michael Jackson learned from him. So you know, those three for sure. Yeah. Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan, Gladys Knight, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke. You know, if you could see, the trend is I'm very much old school. And so I Nancy Wilson. Oh, Nancy Wilson. Woo, Nancy Wilson. I could go on and on about her. But those artists, for me, and I think the through line that I have here just never took no for an answer. These are the artists that I just mentioned, just never took no for an answer. And if no was given to them, they made their own avenues to put out their work, to be heard, to be seen. And that, as I'm speaking to you, realizing that is part of the through line with the people that I look up to and studied and wanting to do my best to understand why they did what they did.
Has anyone said no to you, Saint?
Recently? In terms of recently? Yes. Oh, I'm thinking of a particular moment that I
How'd you handle it?
In the moment,
mm-hmm.
I was extremely heated.
Okay.
And I was very thankful that I had my brothers in the arts to, at that moment, turn to and tell them the situation. And they were able to say, It's all right. Take this moment, be with us. We're going to do what we have to do. And don't you worry, because everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. I know at this point, at this moment in time, it's not right. It's not okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Anyway,
yes.
But don't let someone else's actions dictate how you. I'll put it this way. They showed you one of my brothers said to me, they showed you their cards. You don't have to show them yours.
That's right. Never let them see you coming.
Right. And it's something that I've always known, but in that moment, because I've had at that point, I had so much happening throughout a particular process that I was going through, that at that moment, I didn't want to hear it anymore. I was like, I'm not here for it. And so I was very thankful that I had my brothers in the art to go to and say, this is what's happening. I'm not feeling it. I need to talk to somebody about it. And I need to let it go. I need to release it, because on the flip script, if I'm being perfectly honest, I wanted to leave the building where I was.
Sure.
And call it a day, because of everything it wasn't just that one occurrence. It was a multiple of things that had been happening.
Sure.
But the advice that I got was something I needed to hear, even though once it was said to me, I knew that, but in the moment, I wasn't trying to hear it.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, two things just came in my mind.
Okay.
One is not being heard. And I don't mean just as I'm speaking, if I were to be speaking to you and you're just looking at me, but I can tell that you're not really listening.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And having to repeat myself more than 3 times. And I say that and I laugh because I get that from my parents. And I think that's also part of the West Indian upbringing. So those are the two things that just came to mind immediately.
So we're going into a part of my show called Wait, What?
Okay.
Where I pose interesting questions, hoping to elicit interesting responses. Are you ready?
Come on with it.
What's the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
This week, what's interesting to that is I've been, watching the news or things of that nature to stay informed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll put it to you like this: to see how, and this is an interesting way to look at it. This is how I know things are getting serious. Mm. You know how businessmen, they're in their suit and ties and all that type of stuff, right?
Yes.
when stuff starts to hit the fan, they start dressing in their polo shirts and, you know, and the khakis and stuff. And
Yes.
so I started to see that, and I go, oh, so now this stuff is getting serious.
Now it's getting real.
That right. So that as I've been, you know, doing my best to hear what's happening, but also
Yes.
not hearing what's happening, because I don't want, I want to know what I need to know, but then I don't want to hear everything else.
That's right.
So that's something interesting that I've been seeing, and it's maybe it's my mind looking at it that way. Who's to say other people might have seen that? But that just lets you know sometimes that's how I look at certain things. You know, those little things.
It's the president of your fan club's birthday.
Uh-huh.
What will you get them as a gift?
Huh. That's a good question. You know, it depends on the person. It depends on who it is. If it was somebody that I know that likes music, I would gear something to that. If it's someone who I knows that loves to cook, I would gear something to that. You know, and I do my best to pay attention to my friends, to my parents, to my girlfriend, to notice the things that they like and pick up on the things that they enjoy without them having to really say it.
Sure.
So I would go along that line, along those lines.
What's your best accent?
Well, it would have to be something like this.
I love it.
You know, I would have to talk like this from time to time and find myself, you know, talking like if I want to catch some food, anytime I go in the restaurants, I say, let me get an order oxtail, heavy on the gravy, plantain, cabbage, and don't be shy with the meat.
I love it. I love it. Is that a male or female Guyanese woman?
That was a combination of both, because I know I was thinking about somebody.
Okay. Fair enough. What accent would you like to acquire?
So many. The first thing that comes to mind would be a good Irish accent.
You know what? I don't know why I thought you were going to say that. That's so weird.
Yeah, a good Irish accent. I won't even attempt to do it now.
Okay, I think you do a really good one though.
I gotta really work on it. Maybe I'll do that now as I have the time.
What theme song describes your life right now?
Okay, so one of my best friends has always said, anytime I walk in the room, they always hear Outkast's "I Like the Way You Move."
Oh.
So anytime I walk in the room, they always hear boom, 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 boom. I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah. What's your most favorite part of your body?
I'll go with my eyes.
Okay. Where is the worst smelling place you've ever been to?
An Uber car ride.
How often do you sing in the shower?
Often. Damn near all the time.
Do you sing gospel, disco? What genre do you sing?
It all depends. Sometimes I'll have the radio on and I'm singing along with the radio, or sometimes I'll wake up with a song in my spirit, whatever that is, and I'll do it there.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
To control the weather, to have telepathic abilities.
Ooh.
To I'll go with those two. Control the weather, telepathic abilities, and I guess I'll put invisibility on that too.
Oh, invisibility. Okay. Elizabeth Taylor said, nerves are the nemesis of all actors. Do you agree with her?
To an extent, because there's not a moment where I don't get nervous on stage, or I'll put it to you like this: because my character comes in at the end of Act 1, I then start Act 2 as the lead singer, because Dennis Edwards came in to replace David Ruffin. So as we're coming on to get ready to take our places for Act 2, I always get these little butterflies. Always, right before the song starts, I always get these butterflies. And I call those good nerves.
Sure.
For me, if I don't have that, then I go, you're too comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I agree with her to an extent, because there's good and bad. There are some nerves that have stopped people from wanting to do this profession.
Sure.
On stage, because if you have those kinds of nerves that holds you back from performing on stage, some other people go into different aspects of the performing arts industry. But in terms of stage, for me, I use them. I don't allow the nerves to stop me from performing. Even though nerves will happen and can happen throughout your performance, but I do my best to use it, to allow it to anchor me and to be used while I am doing what I love to do.
What's your favorite word?
I don't know if I have a favorite word. I'll tell you the first one that came to mind. It's a Guyanese saying.
Yes, go ahead.
It's basically saying stupid, but it's chubbity. That's the first one that came to mind. I don't know why, but since it's the first one that came to mind, I will do that.
Because my husband is Guyanese and you know him well, I hear this word every day. Sometimes it's directed towards people in the household.
Why are so chubbity? Hey, buddy, you're being chubbity. Calm down. Yeah.
Why don't you keep that accent for the 2 remaining questions I have? How's that?
All right.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
If I get a chance, I just cook. I just sit down and watch. I sit down and watch the Idiot Box, and I might play a little game. If I have my partners them wrong, I just play me domino, or I sit down and put a couple lashes on a tequila and ginger ale or something like that.
And my last question for you, Saint.
Yes, darling. Yes.
What is the one thing you want people to know about you?
You want me to say it with the accent?
Whatever you want. It's your interview.
The last thing I want people to know about me is that I do my best to live in my full purpose, not purpose, purpose.
Purpose?
And doing my best, yes, I said my best, doing my best to live my life, not yours, but mine. Because all I can do is live mine. Don't come to me and tell me how to live my life. You go and live yours. Because if you come in to tell me how to live my life, I can tell you where to go and catch the next bus ride. Oh, that was good. That was good. Thank you for telling me to do that, to keep it in that, to do that.
Excellent. Say, look, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
It was just
This
so
is very
fun.
fun. This is very fun. Yeah.
You know, thank you for your insight, your perspective, keeping it real. Thank you for you. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see you up on that stage getting the Tony, the Grammy, the Emmy. Okay?
From your mouth to God's ears.
I see it.
Thank you.
But in the meantime, thank you for taking the time out to be with us mortals. And
We're all mortals. No one is above that, because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, but it's about how you learn from your mistakes and hopefully not make the same mistake. You can make another mistake, but learn from that mistake.
That's right. And will you come back to the Global Advocate podcast?
Of course.
You're doing Global Advocate Career Podcast. So you got me so crazy now.
Of course. I'm looking forward to my next time.
Yes. Well, thank you, Saint. Thank you, dear listeners and watchers. Until next week.
Yes.